Lord, forgive us for the times when we focus on the fear and darkness around us. Forgive us when we have been the absence of light, allowing darkness to dwell in our lives. With each day, your grace and word is there to encourage us out of the shadows. Lord, you are the light of the world, and in you, there is no darkness. Because of what Jesus did on the cross, we are free from the chains of sin. You have released us from the darkness that once held us captive. Sin and shame have no place to hide. Your light exposes what is hidden. Sin and darkness must flee. We will fear no evil, for you are with us. Your word is a lamp upon our feet and a light upon our path. Lord, please guide us forward and scatter the darkness around us, bringing light into the world.
We are glad you are here. We want to welcome those who are online with us tonight. Tony, we are in our second episode.
Definitely, we want to welcome everybody. Tonight is our second episode. Tonight's episode is Seen. And what in the world are you doing? Did you get hurt today?
No.
What's going on with your eye? Did you have an injury,
Our
accident? What's going
lesson
on?
tonight is about, the text is about a man who was blind.
Okay.
And so I want
what's
to-
that got to do with the eye patch?
I wanted to experience what it was like to be blind.
But you've only got one eye covered.
Well, if I covered the other, I wouldn't be able to find my way into the auditorium.
That's the point of being blind.
So this is not going to help me any?
Only if you can do it really quickly, back and forth.
Oh, back and forth. Okay.
You probably would rather use one of these. So that might help you to experience the darkness.
Yeah, this is not going to work.
Okay, now if you could just take a seat.
No, this is not going to work. Wait a minute, I got it. How's
Okay.
that?
All right, well, now you've had a seat. You've definitely had a seat.
Yeah. Wow, that is weird.
So yeah, it's very weird. Not being able to see at all is strange, isn't it?
You know, what's fascinating about it, Tony, is here's a passage out of Matthew, and I just knocked my whole sound system off. Matthew chapter 6, verse 22. Jesus actually talks about the importance of the eyes. I mean, he says, your eye is like a lamp that provides light for your body. And boy, I want to tell you, you put one of these on or one of those on that you just have, and boy, you know exactly what Jesus meant by that. And what's interesting is that Jesus, in fact, tell us what's going on with these two texts.
So, Jesus uses light a lot, and he loves the analogy of light. And in this verse, in John, he says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And he uses the light and the darkness to contrast, the good and the evil, Jesus and the darkness. And so he will do this several times.
In John chapter 1, when he begins, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then he goes on to say, in him was life, and the life was the light.
Yes.
And
yes.
so, but I think we probably need to listen a little bit more about this. So why don't we turn it over to Stan? Stan's got something special to talk about why John would use these illustrations. So Stan, take it and go with it, brother.
All right. So what is the most important book of the Bible? Any guesses? Matthew? I heard John. Do what? Genesis. Well, it's a trick question, actually, because there's not a book that's more important than the others. But Genesis was the answer I was looking for, so congratulations. Because if you don't read Genesis, you can't really figure out the rest of the story, right? It would be really difficult to just imagine the biblical story if you hadn't read Genesis. You wouldn't find out things like God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw that the light was good, so God separated the light from the darkness. What's fascinating about this is, and Les and I had this conversation earlier in the week, this is before the sun and the moon are created. So it gives us pause and says, well, wait a minute. How did he create light and separate the darkness and light if there's no sun and moon? Well, the sun and the moon are luminaries for us, for creation. But God is actually light. And as Les just said, and I changed it just a little bit in kind of my own paraphrase from John 1, verse 9, the true light who gives light to everyone was coming into the world. So the true light gives light to everyone. So that would be an interesting thing to do sometime. I do this sometimes when I'm teaching, is parallel Genesis 1 and John 1, and look at all, if you can make it out from where you're sitting and if you're online, look at all the similarities. In the beginning, was, God said, God is, God was with God, believed in his name. The Father and the Son have always been together. They're distinct. They have a distinct difference, but they have unity. They have equality. And there's something that happens in Genesis when creation is started, and there's something that happens that's, I think, even greater in John 1 when the light comes as Jesus, and then the light comes to be given to us. So what is light's purpose? I always think that the initial answer to this is to be able to see, right? We think about, well, how weird would it be to drive home tonight after it's dark and not have any headlights on your car? It could be problematic. You can't see where you're going. But that's really illumination. That's really illuminating the things that are out there, which light does do, and it does let us see where we're going. But what if the light that Jesus gives us lets us see more than just illuminating where we're going or the things around us? What if it lets us see like God sees? Light to see is different than light to illuminate. And so what do we see with then? Well, we see with our eyes when we're looking at things that are illuminated, but we see with our heart, which is what God does when he looks at us. And we were having a conversation actually earlier today, and I thought of something, the image of God. God sees the image in everybody. And interestingly enough, 99.9% of us are all exactly the same. That last 0.1 is skin color, hair color. We're all one race. We've gotten that so wrong, it's not even funny. There are no multiple races. There's multiple ethnicities, but we are all one race, like Paul talks about. God sees every human being equally and equally important. And the text tells us this. One quick example, back to Genesis. Thank you for your answer. Genesis 16:13. Hagar gives God a name. The only person in the Bible, Old or New Testament, to put a name to God, to Yahweh, is Hagar. And El for God, and Roy, the Hebrew word that means seen, the root that means to see or seen, the God who sees. That's what she names him, because he saw her, and he sees every one of us. So, we use Jesus' light, or we should use Jesus' light, to see others. For example, this past Sunday, the sermon, and what Dr. Cloud and I said in here in class, Rahab. Rahab was probably not somebody that would have been seen in her context in her town the way God saw her. In class in here, we actually said a statement, something along the lines of, don't be surprised that God saw Rahab and that Rahab saw God. Be a little upset that we don't see Rahab's. We automatically decide who God sees and who God doesn't see, which is a mistake. And what about today? Today's Juneteenth. It might be something that is new to you. You might not even know what all it's about. But I tell you what it's about, in my opinion, and that is that people we haven't seen very well. People that God has seen that we didn't see, so much so they had to have a day set aside so that we could be reminded to see them. So the question is, when we have the light to see with our eyes and our hearts, who else and what else are we not seeing?
If I could have all the, whoa, that's loud. If I could have, I'm going to pull it way over here. If I could have all the kids come join me up here, we're going to kind of look at a little bit of a story tonight. If you have all the kids come on up here. Now, I know the government defines kid as the age of 25 and under. I'm looking for a little bit younger than that. No 25-year-olds up here. Y'all come on up here and take a seat. Y'all figured out your order yet? I see a 3. All right, I've asked some friends to help me with the story tonight, so we're trying to get ourselves organized in order. As my son manages everybody on stage. I don't know where he gets it from. All right, while we're doing that, let me get my prop here. I forgot it. All right, well, while we finalize that, tonight we're going to look at a story about how Jesus helps a blind man see. And one of the ways that he did that is, as we'll see in our story, is that he actually took some dirt and he spit in that dirt, and then he puts the mud that's made from his spit and the dirt on the eyes of the person who can't see. That's pretty wild, isn't it? So what we're going to do before our story here is we're all going to pass this jar around, and I want you all to spit in the jar. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So we are going to be looking at John. Where are we at? John chapter 9, verses 1 through 12. And so I've got some friends here to help me read through that. So let's see here. Who has the first verse for me? All right. Garland, are you ready, buddy? Okay.
As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth.
His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?"
Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him.
As long as it is day, he must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. Why I am in the world, I'm the light of the world.
After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes.
Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam. This word means sent. So the man went and washed, and he came home seeing.
His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg?"
Some claimed that he was, others said, "No, he only looks like him." But himself instead, "I am the man."
How then were your eyes open? They asked.
He replied, "The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and then I could see."
All right, thank you, guys. So, hey, just a couple quick questions, okay? Hey, why did Jesus rub mud on the man's eyes? Yes.
Because he told him to wash it off, and I think it was a lake, and it made it where he could see.
Made it where he could see, absolutely, absolutely. So, what would you miss? Okay, what would you miss being able to see the most if you were blind? Family. What a good answer. What's your real answer? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Hey, how do you think the blind man felt after Jesus gave him his sight back?
He felt very excited.
I bet he did. If you could not see, then all of a sudden you could see. You didn't even know what to call the color red or what to call the color yellow. I bet your mind was just blown away. Absolutely. If you were given back your sight, what would be the first thing you would want to do?
See my family.
See your family. You just stealing his answer? No, really, that's what your real answer. Not baseball. You wouldn't want to go play baseball? Yeah, a close second. Okay, all right. Okay, Jesus gave the blind man a better life. How does Jesus make our lives better? All right, awesome. We'll get several answers.
He died on the cross for our sins.
He died on the cross for our sins, absolutely, so we can have eternal life with him, right? That's awesome.
He gives us like houses and food to eat.
He takes care of us, just like the Bible talks about how he takes care of the birds of the air and all of the beautiful flowers that he has clothed. He takes care of us, absolutely.
He heals the sick.
He heals you if you're sick, absolutely. Anybody else? How does Jesus make your life better? Heals us if we're sick. See, just stealing answers left and right. Family, sick, I get it. It's all right, though. It's okay. All right, guys, thank y'all so much. Y'all can go sit down. Thank you. All right. We've got a couple songs that we're going to sing. I think the first one's going to pop up on our screen here. All right. If you would sing with me. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, also highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for our sake became poor. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see. Now our next song, I don't think we're going to have the words on, but you should know it by heart. And we're going to try to keep Les from doing too many of the hand signals here. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No. I'm going to let it shine, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm going to let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm going to let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm going to let it shine all the time. Let it shine all around the neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine all around the neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine all around the neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine all the time. Let it shine.
Okay, let's do a little example of the darkness and the light. And I need a couple of volunteers. Let's see. Easton, will you volunteer for me? Okay, good. I need a girl, too. Who will volunteer? Hallie, will you volunteer? Okay, come on up here, Hallie. Okay, so I need you two to come up here. We're actually going to play a little game, but I want to ask you guys a couple of questions before we do that. Is it okay if I ask y'all a couple of questions first? All right. So What do you like better, the light or the dark?
Light. Light.
Why do you like the light better?
Because I can see. Same.
Same. Because you can see and you can't see in the dark. Are you scared of the dark?
No.
Very good. I was at your age. I still am, actually.
Sometimes.
Sometimes you're scared of the dark? What about at night? Do you sleep in the dark in your room?
No.
You have a nightlight? You sleep in the dark?
No.
You have a nightlight? And why do you have a nightlight in your room?
Because I don't like dark.
Why do you have a nightlight in your room?
I don't know. It just like helps me fall asleep.
Helps you fall asleep. Makes you feel more comfortable? Makes you feel more comfortable. So let me ask you this. What is the darkest place you've ever been?
I don't know.
Is it your room?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, what about you? Where's the darkest? Have you ever been anywhere darker than your room?
Probably a cave at Kentucky Down Under.
Ooh, so you went to a cave at Kentucky Down Under. So did they turn all, like you were in the cave and they turned all the lights out? Is that darker than your room?
Yes.
And did it scare you?
A little bit, yeah.
That's like so dark you can't even see your hand in front of your face, right? All right, so is it okay if we play a little game? You want to play a little boys versus girls game real quick? Okay, all right. Well, here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to let you put this blindfold on here, and I think I've got Lesa's still in here in my pocket. I'm going to let you put that one on. Okay, now so, all right, I'm going to put something in your hand. It's called a sticks. There we go. Here we go. All right, here we go, right there. There we go. Can you see anything? All right, how many fingers do I have up? You got that right, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to put a stick in your hand. Reach out. There we go, right there. Okay, so you can't see because you couldn't find the stick. Okay, now, all right, Les, if you'll help me out here just a little bit, and hang on just a second. I'm going to move this just a second, if you don't mind. I'm going to pull it right up here, if that's okay. All righty. Don't make it too easy. We need some obstacles like mountains. We can let them climb stairs. How about up to the booth? No, it's not good.
Hey, Tony,
Okay.
you know the interesting thing in the story that Owen told? When Jesus told the blind man, you go to the pool of Siloam, do you know how far away that thing was?
A long way. And it was not straight and it was not flat.
Yeah, it was down steps and curves, and it was over 6 football fields long.
Okay, well, we don't have any football fields here.
Well,
So we're just going to go.
They could go to Gallatin Road and back.
We'll have to ask their parents for that.
Okay, all right. Well,
so
let's not do that then.
Let's. How about we go to the end of the first aisle?
Okay, down there next to Miss Irma.
Uh-huh.
Y'all know where the middle part of the auditorium is? Okay.
All right. Yep.
It's
That's about
right over
right.
there.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
good.
about right. Yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say, ready, set, go, and then you're going to walk down to the gap in the auditorium, middle of the auditorium, then you're going to walk back. That's real easy, right? Isn't that real easy? Shake your head if you think that's real easy. Y'all think that's real? No. Yep. That's real easy. Okay. All right. But first, we don't want to make this too easy. So let's just do this a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So here we go. Let's just do this a little bit.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Ready? All right. Here we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
Go to the right. Go to the right. No, the other right. No, go to the left. Yeah, keep going. All right, you're getting closer. Follow my voice.
All right, we have a winner. Yes, we have a winner. The girls won.
Oh,
the girls won.
good night.
Girls won. They cheated.
Okay,
What?
okay. Now,
They
my
cheated?
question.
Hey, they're saying the girls cheated.
Huh?
They're saying the girls cheated.
Could you see anything? She was blind. She didn't cheat.
What? I led her down the aisle and back. Oh.
But Tony, that's how blind people got around.
Yeah, that makes
They
it
had
so
to be
much
led.
easier to be led.
I mean, blind people just didn't go wandering around. Well, some blind people did. But yeah, blind people didn't just start going, okay, all right. Question, how hard was it? Hard? What was the hardest part?
Trying to figure out what part I was going.
Where you were going? All right. What was the hardest part?
Like finding the direction I was supposed to go.
By the way, what did you bump into?
I have no clue.
Oh, you don't have any. Well, you were bumping into several of these pews right here, which I was glad you didn't go that way. You would have bumped. Now, you immediately bumped into this, didn't you? Yeah. And then figured out which way to go. Yeah. Okay. Now, so when Tony came up and grabbed you, what did you think was going on?
Well, I just kind of thought he was cheating.
He was, oh, you thought he was cheating? Wow. Tony, have you ever associated with blind people before?
No, not a lot. But so whenever I did grab your hand, and so did you find it so much easier to be led instead of just trying to find your own way? Yeah, so that's the point of our story tonight, is that when you're in darkness, you're looking for someone to lead you out of that darkness and into a safer spot, to the pool of Siloam, to wash your eyes, or into the light.
And that person is?
Who's that person that leads us?
God, or Jesus.
Yeah. Listen, anytime you ask a question, the correct answer is always Jesus.
There you
okay? If it's at church, right, Tony?
All right, that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, Tony, June and I had a dear friend when we were in Memphis living many years ago who was basically born blind. His name was Randy. Went to Freed Hardeman as well. And Randy would come over to us and he'd say, can I come over and watch TV with you? Can a blind person watch TV? Nope. Haley, how would a blind person watch TV?
They just listen to it.
They listen to it. You're exactly right. And he would come over, and Miss June would cook popcorn, and he would bring over root beer. He loved root beer, and we would watch TV together. The only problem is, if they started laughing on TV, guess what he'd do? No, he wouldn't start laughing because he didn't know what they were laughing about. And so he would always say, what happened? What happened? What happened? And then me and June would have to explain what happened. But Tony, one of the things about blind people is they develop other abilities far better.
Yes,
do you know what blind people can do better than y'all could do? Guess what they really are good at doing? Any idea? What?
Listening.
They are. Way to go. Randy, if I was walking down the sidewalk toward him, Tony, Randy would pause and then he'd go, hey, Les. He knew exactly how I walked and would call me by name. That freaked me out. But yeah, he could hear really, really good. Now, my favorite Randy story was this one. He was at Freed Hardeman. He was walking one night when it was real cloudy, and a friend walked up, and Randy had his stick, like y'all had his stick, and he was walking, and a friend walked by and said, Randy, it sure is dark tonight, isn't it? And Randy said, it sure is. All right, thank y'all.
All right,
we
very good. Good job.
it.
Now, y'all can
Great.
go back to your seats, but you got to put your blindfolds on.
No.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Let me grab this one. What was it like to be blind in Jesus' day? I don't know if y'all have ever thought about that. I mean, what was it like to be blind in Jesus' day? Let me ask y'all a question. What kind of job could you do if you were blind in Jesus' day? You could answer phones, right? Wait a minute, did y'all really say yes?
Oh, wait, no,
there wasn't any phones, okay. All right. Yeah, so guess what all the blind people did? They begged for money. That's right. They would have to, and by the way, where would they go to beg? They'd go to town. They'd try to go where people were. And by the way, how did they get there? So, yeah, same way Haley was able to get back there and back. Someone would help them. And so being blind in Jesus' day was incredibly, incredibly difficult. By the way, if you've never been around a blind person, watching them interact is astonishing. Mine and June's friend Randy would cook. He would cook for himself. And Stan, he would always have to, he used a microwave, but before he would eat it, he would always put his finger in it to see the temperature of it, to keep from burning himself. And you think about that and you're like, wow, you know. And of course, how do you get dressed? And by the way, he was working on his master's degree, which meant everything. By the way, what language is used to communicate with blind people? Braille. Yeah, who said that? All right, back there. Wonderful. Yeah, and so Randy had to get all of his books in Braille. And he would have to read those books, and he ended up graduating. Wonderful, wonderful student. But I remember one particular thing in the school I was at. They had this one door that had a sign up on the door. And the door was right beside a hallway. So here's the hall, here's the door, and the door went down the stairs. And they had a sign up on the door that says, "Do not leave this door open." And someone did, and Randy took a bad tumble down the stairs because he thought he was going down the hall and he went down the steps. And so a challenge to live as a blind person in Jesus' day. And by the way, if you want to experience what it was like to be blind, and I'm bleeding on my arm, you notice that? Yeah, I take blood thinner, and all it takes is a little prick, and the next thing you know, I'm bleeding. But I'm reminded of people who lived before there was electricity. I was talking to Johnny Anglin. Johnny is from Hickman County, and Johnny was a junior in high school before they got electricity. And so I was talking to Johnny, and I said, "Johnny, I mean, what was that like to finally get electricity?" And he said, "I just stood there and stared at that, electric cord from the ceiling." And by the way, electric lights, when they first got electric lights, how did you turn them on? You had the pull cord, yeah. And Johnny said, "I just stood there and stared at it." And I said, "Well, what was the first electrical appliance you got?" And he said, "We got an electrical stove." And he said, "It's time to get rid of the old wood stove." Anybody besides Johnny grew up before you had electric lights? Anybody else in here? Buddy, did you always have electricity? Really? I mean, they had electricity 120 years ago? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. You're not that old. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody? Who? Mabel? Where was that at? In Paducah? I'm sorry, where was it? Sullivan, Kentucky. And so how old were you when you got electricity? About 5. And do you remember when you finally got it? Were you excited? Have the long cord that came down from the ceiling. What was the first thing your mom and dad bought electrical beside the lights? An iron. Oh, so you had 2 plugs, one in the back of the iron and one into the wall. Okay, wow. Let it cool down. All right, and by the way, I asked Johnny, I said, if y'all didn't have lights, how did you see at night? You did go to bed in the dark. My dad used to say, but how did you light the house, Mabel? With coal oil lamps. Y'all, I don't even know what coal oil is. But they had lamps, and they would light these coal oil lamps, and that's how they did lights. Yeah. Again, my daddy was a senior in high school when they finally got electricity. And as soon as they wired the house, my granddaddy had to give my uncle a nickel to go buy a light bulb because they didn't have any light bulbs. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, of all the things, I mean, refrigerators, irons, stoves, you could buy fans for the first time. And boy, you just think about all the stuff that we were finally able to do, but light all the time. By the way, y'all, we are the most lit generation ever. We're the first generation to carry a flashlight in our pockets. I mean, I can't imagine being without this. I use this flashlight all the time. It's one of the coolest things in the world. Now, for those of you who have Apple Watches, don't get the Apple flashlight on your watch. It's not worth anything. But anyway, our cell phones are wonderful. Jesus, in the Sermon on the Mount, says something amazing. He came as the light of the world, but he wanted us to be lights as well. And so I think of the moon. The moon is only light because it reflects the sun's light. Well, we're only able to reflect light because we reflect the sun's light. Not the S-U-N, but the S-O-N. And Jesus says, you are the light of the world. We are. Jesus came to give us light so that we could be light to the world. And then he goes on to illustrate a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. In the ancient world, at night, the only thing that would guide you would be hills that had communities on them with, they used olive oil to light their lamps, but they would have these olive oil lamps that would be lit, and you would at least be able to see a faint glow in the distance. Neither do people light a lamp, put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand. It gives light to everyone in the house. And so he says, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. We have a responsibility of taking the light of Jesus that he came to give to us and taking that light and reflecting it out into the world. And by the way, we do that by our good deeds. Notice the word there, by our good deeds. And when I think about the church here at Hendersonville, I think about programs like Room in the Inn. I think about programs like our medical equipment ministry. I think of the Christian Manor, the two facilities over here that are a blessing to so many people. I think about our benevolence program. Many of you, if you don't work here in the office, you just don't realize how many people we impact on a regular basis. This last week, Susie came down to my office and he said, there's a guy at the door. I'm a little nervous about going to the door to seeing what he is. Would you mind going to the door and finding out who he is and what he needs? And I said, I'm happy to. And I went down and invited him to come in, and he sat down there in the hall, just right down the hall, just outside the doors there as you go toward the restrooms. He sat down there at the chair and just began to cry as he told me what had happened to him. And the struggles he was having. And I asked him, I said, okay, what is it that we can help you with right now? What is your most important need right now? And he said, can you help me with food? Now, y'all, we may think there are not people like that. We don't have people out in our community who needs food. Yes, we do. And he said, could you just help me with food? And of course, we were able to assist him and give him the ability to go out and buy food. We are a light in this community. I hope y'all will continue to appreciate that. By the way, if you want to see this church shine brighter than any other time, come on a Tuesday, come on a Thursday, at 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Go back here to the medical equipment ministry and watch the lives this church is touching through that single ministry alone. It is absolutely amazing. And so we hope you'll do that. We're going to sing one more song. Blake's going to come up. It's going to be about sending the light, us being the light, and therefore sending the light. Let me just mention that Mabel's here tonight. Brother Ulysses' celebration of life will be this Saturday here at the building. Visitation starting, Mabel, at 10 o'clock. That's correct. And then the service at 11 o'clock. I know we want to celebrate Brother Ulysses' life. What a blessing he was to our congregation. And so that's the time for that particular service. And Blake's going to come and lead us. Then Stan's got another important announcement, and then he'll lead us in a closing prayer. Blake? And
All right. Oh, cool. I'll just make sure you stay up with me then. Cool. There's a call comes ringing, oh, the restless waves in the light, in the light. There are souls to rescue, there are souls to save. Send the light, send the light, send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. We have heard the Macedonian call today. Send the light, send the light, and a gold and an offering at the cross we lay. Send the light, send the light, send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. Let us not grow weary in the work of love. Send the light, send the light. Let us gather jewels for a crown above. Send the light, send the light, send the light, the blessed gospel light. Let it shine from shore to shore. Send the light, the blessed gospel light. Let it shine forevermore.
All right, there we go. Once Ken gives me the thumbs up, then it's good. Okay, little update. So we announced, I think it was last Sunday, about Habitat and the idea that we had a volunteer opportunity for framing. There was a little confusion. You do not have to be a framer in order to volunteer. They are framing, and they need 5 volunteers. That's people that go get nails and hammers and maybe help hoist the wall up when they're done nailing the studs together. However, the framing crew has been delayed, and it is now no longer taking place this Friday. It's going to be a week from today, next Wednesday, the 26th, from 8 in the morning until noon. And so since Camp Cope will be over, I will be going. I was conflicted out this Friday, but now I get to go, and Tom Case so far is joining me. So we need at least 3 other people. If you would like to come and you have next Wednesday morning available, we would love to have you join us. And then our work with Habitat will get more organized, okay? Once we get the house dried in, then we will get our full featured list of what we get to do together, wear the t-shirts, sing the songs, and do all of the painting and trimming and all that. So don't think it's going to be disorganized. It'll get more and more clarity as we go forward. All right, let's pray. Father, Son, and Spirit, Yahweh God, thank you for this pause in our week to come together and contemplate things like the light. Thank you for being the light. Thank you for creating the sun and the moon to guide us during the day and at night. And every time we look up there, as Les has reminded us tonight, that we see the S-U-N, may we remember the S-O-N and how we are to reflect Jesus to the world. Help us contemplate as we leave here what it means to have your light inside us, that you came as the light of the world to give light to everyone who will accept it, everyone who will choose it, and that by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit in us, we actually have the same light in us in some small amount that you had. And we're asked to share that. We're asked to use it to see people. Help us remember on this day, June 10th, that those who weren't really set free on July 4th, this is their Freedom Day, and may we remember to see people like them, like you see them, like the Rahabs, like our other ethnicities, the people who are different from us, the people who are in different denominations, the people who are in different nations, the people who work at our competitors, the people who cheer for the football team we don't like, for all of the others that are out there that you see equal to us, help us use your light that we can see them equal to us as well, and know that you died on the cross for them, and that we are all supposed to be reflecting the image of Jesus to everybody that we come in contact with and what we say and what we do. And that is our true vocation, regardless of what our occupations are and regardless of our family heritage and what ethnicity we were born into. It's in your Son's name that we pray, and we ask for help in doing all this. Amen. Have a blessed night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll go to, Episode 3 next week.